What is going on, everybody? Please, if you are watching, let me know. If you've watched a previous stream, let me know if you like the way this one looks better or worse, because I am using the Logitech Logic Capture for this stream instead of the OBS software. So I just want to see, this is a little simpler. So, and I think right off the bat, it looks pretty good. So hopefully it will look nice. So if you're watching, please let me know that you can hear me okay. I'm going to double check. Everything seems to be functioning. So let me just make sure. 100% sorry for the little delay here, but I hate when I go like 10 minutes and then figure out the microphone doesn't work or something like that. So let me try to figure out where it says, because this is a different software. I want to figure out if the microphone is working. If you're in the chat, please let me know if you can hear me okay. That saves a ton of time here that I'm currently wasting trying to make sure it works. So, all right. We got a Reaper Bones Frost Giant here. I based him with some washes that I had basically while I was doing some other stuff. And I think what we're going to do is work on him. I think right off the bat, I'm going to go with like a kind of a brass color and block in a bunch of these metals. So I think we're going to go with, let me make sure this one's even open. Yeah, we're going to go with decayed metal from scale 75. Put a nice little bit in there. And let me get my glasses. Okay. All right, cool. Just got to check one thing here. Okay. When I use the scale 75 metallics, I actually thin them down with this acrylic thinner here. And I'm going to do that here. I'm not going to do anything too special. I'm just going to put like a drop or two in. There we go. Just like, yeah, maybe one more. Two more. This product here works really well for thinning the scale 75 paints for the airbrush. So it's worth buying. Normally I wouldn't buy like anything just outside of the airbrush flow improver or airbrush thinner from Vallejo, because I'm usually really happy with those, but this one's nice here. Just gonna mix that in. This is a size 6 ghost brush that's extra beat up, but that's just because we've been using it for like a year. And I'm just gonna, I think I'm gonna base coat like basically all the metals. If you watch the other Frost Giant videos, they were more silvers. And these next three, although they are going to be Frost Giants, the models themselves are Fire Giants. So we're just going to differentiate them a bit. They're still going to be on the ice base, but I think they'll lend themselves well as a squad, because there's 3 of them, to just have a different look. So if you follow me on Instagram, I put up pictures of the gorillas today that I've done. And honestly, I think the stream looks pretty good with Logic Capture here instead of the OBS software. So apparently, being unable to figure out the OBS these last year or whatever I've tried it, I'm pretty happy with how it looks right now. If you're in the chat, feel free to chit chat with me. I am live, so definitely doing this with the intention of hanging out and talking with people. So if you're there, hit me up. We can chat it up. This will be the stream before Christmas. I might actually stream Christmas night too. My family does more of a Christmas Eve celebration. And our Christmas Day is very much done by like the early evening, 3 or 4 o'clock. So maybe Christmas night I'll have it in me to put a stream on or something. So here we go. We're just basing these boots in decayed metal. It'd be nice to finish one of these tonight. These guys are taking up quite a bit of space on the old paint table, but I don't know how long I'll be streaming tonight, so we don't know if I'll get them done. Surely I won't get all the basing done tonight, but if we can get them blocked in and washed, that'd be good progress. Let me know what you're working on in the chat or the comments if you're watching this later. We have these ghost brushes for sale on eBay. They're available now, including the dry brushes. So pick up a set if you like. And when I say we, I mean me. I'm just one person, but they are available. We, as in the Kickstarter backers who made it possible, and myself. So together, the ghost brushes are available. And this guy actually just for fun kind of did his base a little earlier when I had some of the colors out working on one of the other giants. So now I'm just trying to be a little careful that I don't ruin the base, since I can go back and fix it, but I'm just trying to get this paintbrush under here to get this inside of the leg there without getting paint on the rest of the model here. So that part's probably a little hard to see on stream, but that's okay. Thinking I'm just going to do this decayed metal, hit it with like an Agrax Earthshade, dark it down, maybe dry brush it, go from there. This has been a pretty exciting year as far as a lot of ups and downs. With all the COVID stuff, it was crazy. In the beginning of COVID lockdown, I was a painting machine. And then as I got closer and closer to being late on the Kickstarter shipping, I barely got anything painted. I barely just painted at all. Wasn't getting anything done hobby-wise because all my days were spent sitting down working on shipping paintbrushes. And now that that's more or less complete, I'm back to painting again, and it does feel nice. So thank you, everyone, for being patient. I really can't relate at all anymore to some friends of mine who might watch this, who are, I can relate in the funk of not painting, but I got some friends who have really done zero hobby this whole year, basically. And that seems odd to me because we more or less had a lot of extra time to get a few projects done. But that's what happens when you decide to waste all your time playing video games. Nothing's going to kill your painting more than playing video games, because you're essentially using the same posture, and you're not using any creative energies playing video games, but same kind of mental focus, at least. You're sitting there focusing on the details of the video game instead of focusing on the details of creating painted miniatures. So I could see, I mean, if you're gaming or whatever, you're going to get bored, or not bored, you're going to get drained and not have the motivation to sit down and paint. It's like when I was working on my Kickstarter shipping, after you spend 12, 14 hours a day sitting down, inspecting paintbrush quality, well, it's hard to then sit down and paint because you're tired of sitting down. You sat all day. So if you're watching this, please give a thumbs up. If you're watching live, please join the chat. And then that way we can talk about whatever comes up, I guess. Let me know what you're doing hobby-wise. Are you excited about the new Slaanesh release? GW put out their kind of PSA today that new releases are gonna slow in January and February. Looks like get some 40K codexes, and they'll probably show us the Slaanesh army on Christmas Day. Which I don't even really play Sigmar right now. I haven't played in a long time. I generally don't like AOS 2, even though I've been working on the Sons of Behemat army here. I've been actually getting really interested in AOS again. Not so much on the rules, but I don't know. I think I just miss maybe the more fantasy-based gameplay, I guess. So I don't know. That new Slaanesh army might get me to buy a few. I bought Dire Chasm for a few Slaanesh models. And I figured, maybe I'll play Warhammer Underworld, or at the very least, I'll be able to use them in Warcry. So that might be how it turns out for the Slaanesh release for AOS. Maybe I'll just pick up a box or two and just make a Warcry warband and just kind of sit on them, as far as maybe in the future make an army if I like the way AOS is looking. Or just keep them for a Warcry warband if we happen to be playing some Warcry, me and my friends. One thing that's fun about, it's kind of a double-edged sword on Warcry. I might make a video about it, but it's so more or less simple. The campaign system itself is very basic. So you get to enjoy running multiple you can run multiple warbands and it's, it's not hard to keep track of them or something. The games are not terribly long. Like, I don't think I would run multiple teams in a Blood Bowl campaign or a Blood Bowl league, but it's very easy when you're playing with your friends to run a couple different warbands for campaigns in Warcry at the same time. So it's kind of nice that, you can't have a few extra little warbands. Like, I could have a Slaanesh warband and play it alongside my Unmade or my Goblins or whatever, my Deepkin. And it's not a lot of bookkeeping. Now, downside, of course, being the extra kind of post-game bookkeeping is really what makes you, I don't know, lack of a better word, fall in love with your Necromunda campaign characters or your Blood Bowl team members, because you're learning skills and getting experience and injuries and stuff. But Warcry, I mean, it doesn't even feel like you have any need to even name a character because the post game is so basic. But if you're not naming them, then you don't have any attachment to them. And then replacing them is very, very simple. You're hardly ever really playing in a deficit of like injured players like you would in some other campaign games. I got the Sons of Behemat army book, and I haven't really read it yet. I looked at all the leaked pictures, all the war scrolls, and I've watched stuff on the army when it came out, so I'm fairly aware of everything I need to know about it. But I haven't like dove in myself and strategized. I was going to say strategized on list building, but there's almost nothing to even choose. You basically have 4 war scrolls, so there's really no list building involved. And that's kind of what I was excited about as far as this army was the Sons of Behemat is so mindless. You got a couple models, they got no wizards, they got no command abilities really. Very, very simple, just stompy giants that shockingly aren't even that stompy. They're actually fairly low damage dealers as far as Age of Sigmar damage dealers are concerned, but I don't know, just a fun, simple army. Seemed like it could be pretty cool. And I hadn't played Sigmar in a while, so that's what kind of got me into thinking about giving it a shot. But it turns out, I guess, they're actually fairly competitive for the Sons of Behemat. And not because they kill anything, but just because they can steal objectives from people. So it's kind of interesting. They don't really play like how you would think a giant army should. It seems, from what I've heard from actual AOS tournament players or people who are really up to date on AOS, is the giants in most cases are almost better off retreating from combat if they didn't charge, or they're not going to strike first, just to steal the objective based on how much models they count for, because they're so vulnerable in hand-to-hand combat. They don't really have good armor. Their high wounds isn't really that high compared to what some of the damage output is for some units in AOS. So it's kind of weird, but interesting that you can use them that way to win some games if you really want to win, or maybe it's just fun to run around and try to stomp on people, which is probably the direction I'm going. There are ways to boost them up a little. Hey, it's David. Can you hear me, David? You're my only viewer. You get to listen to the ramblings of a madman. Everybody watching in the future, David there, I don't think has painted any models this year. Although he has worked on Spider-Gwen for like 6 months. At Wednesday night hobby night. Sweet. All right. Oh, David jumping in the chat and made 2 extra viewers jump on the stream. Maybe Red's one of our viewers taking a break from watching Christmas movies. I got a new love seat today, and it's probably way too big for my cluttered apartment. So it's going to be fun trying to reorganize to make that work. But right now it's just taking up a bunch of space. But it's nice to have a couch finally. Also, everybody watching in the future, make sure you harass Disney Reject to paint his models. Or at least finish painting Spider-Gwen. Okay, we got a little bit more to kind of base coat on this armor here. These giants I generally try to keep pretty simple, really. I try to paint them so they're nice looking, but I don't really stress over every little thing. I'm trying to really treat them like this is my funsy army, get it painted, have an AOS army, and then kind of get it out of the way, get it off the paint desk. Because of the insane point cost of these units, I already do have a 1,000-point army painted because I have 6 giants painted. Depending on if I get bored with this guy here, I might, maybe I'll jump over and work on one of the big ones, or at least show you. I got one of the big ones kind of airbrush base coated, looks kind of shark-esque is what I was going for. Kind of great white shark. Didn't really get, I'd say I didn't really nail the colors, but I think the idea will come through, I guess. Like, people will probably know what I was going for at least, so that's probably good enough for me. But there's probably better colors I could use for the shark skin. And he's not in any way done. It's just playing around with an airbrush on him and seeing what I could come up with. So I'll show you that guy here in a second. Actually, while I got all this decay metal paint still in my little cup here, I'll probably end up using some of that and just put some down on one of these other giants I got behind me instead of wasting the paint and letting it just dry. I know base coating decayed metal is probably not the most exciting stream you've ever seen in your life. But generally, I do these just to chit chat and hang out and hobby talk. If we get people who want to chit chat about the hobby. Yeah, you do not have too many video games to play. Throw them away. Start fresh. No more video games for you. All right, yeah, I think while I got a decent amount of this decayed metal here, I'm going to just grab one of these guys behind me. Maybe I can knock out his boots. This is always a good way, I feel like, to get models finished is, I got this paint out. I'm just about to either waste it and let it dry in that paint cap and move on to something else, or I could choose what I'm doing here and just slap it on another model. And then when it's time to paint this model, I already have some of his metallics base coated. So that saves me time. It doesn't save me time because I'm using that time now to do it, but it just gets him a little closer to being done. So at least when the time comes to finish this model, he's already halfway done, I guess. Yeah, we'll get these boots blocked in and see how much paint we got left in our little cup. Maybe block in another piece or two. Yeah, and David, if you're still there, no Cecil tonight. He got trapped into doing chores, so decided to put the stream on. And one of the really good things about the stream is it just forces me to paint because I can't just sit here quietly doing nothing. So as long as the stream's running, it's like I know I gotta keep moving. That way, if somebody's at least watching in the future, there's maybe something entertaining to catch. And sometimes these streams don't do too bad. They'll get a couple hundred views, really. So probably not a super ton of watch time, but people probably click around and see how the models turned out, I guess. That's kind of how I watch streams. If it's like a podcast, I'll turn it on and listen to the whole thing. But if it's like a James Wapple miniature painting stream, it's usually I just turn it on, watch it for a little bit, click 10 minutes ahead, see what part he's working on, maybe watch that part for a little bit, click 10 minutes ahead, so on. Or just, if you decide you don't like the look of somebody's model on stream, then you just click away. Oh, also hit that like button, David. Jeez, what are you doing? I don't have any likes on my video. Why, you're not liking my video? You gotta get those likes for the YouTube algorithm so I can get that sweet, sweet YouTube money. Hey, I got a like on my video now. Yeah, just instead of wasting this paint and just throwing it onto this other giant while I got it out, it also helps me get them finished too, because it's sometimes tedious to do this part of the painting of like just base coating stuff. So it's like, while I got it in me, keep going, and then later when maybe I don't feel like doing it, hopefully I already did it. But of course, base coating things, decayed metal on stream, probably not ideal. Not the award-winning content people are after. Yeah, normally our kind of group of friends does a Wednesday night hobby night, but we didn't do it this week, so figured I'd do a Wednesday night hobby night with the YouTube audience, I guess. My streams are generally so random and often very late at night. And I don't think anybody really has any idea when to expect a stream from me. I don't schedule them. So there's usually not a whole crazy ton of viewers, but usually it's fun. You do like the video, David. This is the best stream you've ever seen, ever. All right, I think I'm running out of my metallic here. Got a little bit more I could probably get out of here, maybe. Maybe I can finish this metal on the arm. And then we'll go back to our other giant and see if we can't maybe finish him up. Or, make some big progress on him. I got 3 of these giants. I wouldn't mind. See how this guy's skin is not even washed or anything yet. If you got a cool recipe for the kind of gray, ashy color skin that sometimes fire giants have, let me know kind of how you approach that, because I actually might try it on one of them. That could look cool. The other frost giants I have so far all kind of have normal skin tones, and which look okay. They look good, but they're kind of, they're different. I don't know how to say it. They're kind of my go-to skin tones. Even though they're different colors, it's kind of the same buildup. Some kind of maybe, I don't know, skin tone wash and some pinker highlight type colors. And that's basically how I do it. So I wouldn't mind trying to learn a few new styles. I actually do have an idea I might try on the other one, so keep on watching for the exciting conclusion of that other giant. Coming up next. Hoping I can just finish this little bandolier thing around his arm. Not bandolier, bracer, I guess. All right, so we'll have at least one arm and the lower body base coated here on this guy, which I'm definitely happy about. Now when I finally decide to finish him, it'll feel like he's finished that much quicker. Cool. Yep. I'll rinse this brush off. I was probably stretching it a little bit on how long I was waiting to rinse that brush. So got some base coat on him. Put him back over here. And let's bring back our other giant. I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. And what I'm going to try is putting like a black wash or something on this skin tone here, which might get funky. But I want to try it and see what happens. So I think I'm going to go with your standard Nuln oil. And let's see. I think I'll use my beat up GW wash brush here. Extra messed up. Yeah, I'm going to go with Nuln oil. We're just going to try. These giants I'm trying to keep them just, lighthearted and fun for my own sanity. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start at the bottom here on this chainmail Nuln Oil. This is base coated in Vallejo Jet Exhaust. I think that's my favorite silver base coat. It's right here. It's really a pretty nice dark silver, but it's not so dark that it can't get darker with some Nuln Oil, which is nice. And it's dark enough that you can dry brush it with some normal silver color and get a highlight on it. So all right, so we got oh, there's one on the back here. Maybe we'll get a Christmas miracle and spill my Nuln Oil on stream. And then we'll all have a good laugh. I really don't think it's going to work, but I'm going to put this on his skin as well. Maybe I'll start with just a hand. That way, if it doesn't work, I can fix it easier, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe just start on like the back of a leg, maybe. Yeah, let's get this hammer too. And this is basically just about as simple as you could really paint a model. Base coats and washes. And then hopefully I'm making good color choices, so it'll look slightly better than just random base coats and washes. And then once you get to the highlights, you can just make things pop, make the important parts pop a little more, and all of a sudden it looks like you really maybe took a little more time on it than you really did. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do it tonight, but I definitely have to figure out a way to reorganize my apartment here a little bit, because now with this couch, it's definitely creating a little bit of clutter. Well, I mean, it was already cluttered, but now I got a whole new piece of furniture I got to somehow squeeze in here. And it's a little, I mean, it's not a big couch, it's just a love seat, but it's a little bigger than I thought it was when I imagined how it would fit. The length is about right. I just honestly greatly underestimated the width. Cool. So I guess we'll just get this part. Actually, maybe I'll do it on, yeah, I'll try the Nuln Oil on his face first. I was trying to figure out a body part I could put it on, and then if I don't like it, it would be easy enough to fix. And I think the face is honestly the best choice, because I would spend the most time there highlighting anyway. So if I need to build up a skin tone, it'd be an area that I'm going to be working on regardless. So let's see how it works. This Nuln Oil pot is getting pretty low, so generally these washes, I feel like they get a little more concentrated the lower they get, because like the pigment's settling to the bottom. Even though you shake them up as they're just sitting there, I think the paint is settling. So let's try it here. Here we go, on his face. I think this was like Draken contrast, maybe dark oath contrast. What's it called? Dracoth. Just over the zenithal prime, and because the zenithal prime didn't have a ton of white, it really doesn't show up quite the same as if you put it over like a nice white. That's not too bad. I don't hate that. So I guess we'll just continue. We'll go ahead and do it. See what happens. So let's put it on chest here. I wanted to try to get kind of that grayer fire giant skin tone. And this just might not be too bad. Thought it would look worse, honestly, so we'll see when it dries, and you always got to be thinking in terms of, what's it going to look like with the highlights. So I don't honestly care if it looks good right now, but if the tones look good, that once I highlight on top of them, I'm trying to figure out I guess you'd say the mid-tone, a desirable mid-tone, or the shadows that I would like to keep. Then when I build my highlights on it, do I think it'll look, good? So far, I think it's not going to be too bad. Generally, I really wouldn't be putting like a black wash over a brown because it looks often fairly muddy. It's one thing GW does all the time that I don't really get. I haven't watched many of them lately, but in their painting videos, they always put Nuln Oil over their reds, and it looks just dirty and awful. And those kind of like speed paint videos they do. And it's like, they know they have Agrax Earthshade. Like, they use it also in every video, so why are they not putting that over the red? Or a mixture of like the purple and black or blue, but not just straight black to make it look dirty. Like for red specifically. So there we go. I don't think that's too bad. I think that darkened up all right. I guess I gotta get his legs too, huh? Oh, and his hands. Oh, I didn't even get this. This was like a chain whip thing he was holding. And I'm trying this new thing where if I don't like something, I'm just cutting it off the model. I did it on my Eldar Guardians. Basically, I tried to cut off all their little trinkets on batch painting, like 40 Guardians. And I tried to go through, if I caught it, I would go through and cut all the little hanging trinkets off of them, because I knew when I'm batch painting 40 Guardians, I have to paint all those little trinkets, and it's really not fun, especially with Eldar, with all those trinkets are generally like gemstones that you have to do something with. So it's same with him. He had this other like chain wrapping around him. I think I'll be able to show you it here in a second, actually. I think it's by my feet in my little bits container. Let me just get this wash on the legs, and then I'll see if I can grab it. Yeah, like here on this model, he has a kind of red skirt thing. I would never put Nuln Oil on that red. Like, it would make it so dirty, and if I want to darken it, I'll use a purple or a blue or a brown. Especially a warm brown is nice, but a black just really dulls it out so much. And it's not the end all. Like, you could still save it with highlights, but you're not doing yourself any favors by having muddy red shadows, in my opinion. I almost feel like after that rant, I should do it just so I could show you how to save it, but I'm not gonna, because I'm kind of against it. But you could save it. If you put your black wash, if you're a new painter and all you have is the black wash, you could do it. It could work. All right, let's let him dry for a second. We're going to go into another wash on him and just get all these browns washed, I think. I'll show you here the Kraken Eater. So I was kind of stippling around with some dark colors, grays, and then kind of doing this cream front color. I don't think it, and then kind of went into a blue gray on the hands. I don't know if it's good. I think it's going to be okay. Kind of going somewhat like a shark or demon shark. I don't know. Obviously, it's still just roughly blocked in, but it's coming along. Might work on him a bit. Oh yeah, so this is this guy's. I think this is it. This is his chain. So I guess it goes like this. Something like this. I was like that. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not dealing with that stupid chain. So I just chopped it off, and now he's just holding like a little handle, which doesn't really make a ton of sense that he's holding a little handle, but that's what he's doing. All right, let's hit it with the Agrax. Let's go Agrax Gloss. Mostly just because it's right here in my hand. And I'm just going to hit my bronze kind of colors. I'll go ahead and hit these purples and the red too with this. Something like a Reichland would be a better choice, I would think. Well, it's all relative. It doesn't necessarily mean better or worse, but usually a warmer brown like a Reichland is going to be a good choice for reds. But since this is the gloss version of Agrax, it's not going to overly stain the red surface anyway. So it should be fine. And yeah, you could still see it's pretty clearly red. So that's one of the benefits of the gloss wash. I'm going to put it on his beard and hair too. The black is still probably wet around there, but or the Nuln Oil. So maybe it'll mix and look good. Maybe it won't. Won't matter. By using the same wash on both the bronze and the purple, it saves me having to be accurate with my paintbrush, and I can really just basically scrub it in. And since the skin tone is a brown wash basically with a black wash over top of it, I don't even have to be too careful on getting this this Agrax gloss overspilled onto the skin. It should just blend in fine. It won't be in any way noticeable as like a mistake or anything. Plus, I still have highlights to hide anything that looks somewhat sloppy or somewhat like it could be a mistake or that actually is a mistake. There we go. That's cool. Actually almost done with this pot of Agrax Gloss, and I have another brand new one, so I won't be unhappy about finishing up my pot and throwing it away. I don't know if there's a name for it, but I always like when I finish something and get to throw it away. Like when you finally get the last little bit of toothpaste out, or you finally get the last bit of dressing for salads or syrup, like chocolate syrup, and then you throw it away, and the next time you go to the store, you got to buy a new one or a new flavor or a new kind. It's kind of like that with paint for me. Although I always usually am still going to, of course, keep some Agrax on hand. Some of these other colors, when you finish them, it's like, oh, that was fun. I get rid of it. I'm never going to buy it again. But at least I used it and got my money's worth. Unless it's Vallejo engine colors, because then they just dry and turn into mud and you can't use them. So that's fun. Watch my video for that. Those were probably quite a bit older than I was saying in the video. Now that I think about it, I think I had them for probably 4 or 5 years, not 1 or 2 or whatever I said in the video. Because originally I was thinking like, yeah, I use these on my AdMech army. But my AdMech army came out, or I built my AdMech army for 8th edition. I bought it right when 8th edition came out and painted it and worked on it in the beginning days of 8th edition. So I actually probably had them pretty long, and just, I guess, forgot how fast time flies. Because I think 8th edition 40K was out for quite a few years, and it's already, I mean, geez, what is it? 9th edition has been out for like 6 months now, I think. And I'm just saying that because I think that's how long it took to reprint the made-to-order Indominus box sets that finally everybody got. I think it was like a 6-month wait. So correct me if I'm wrong, but 9th edition has already been out half a year. Doesn't feel like it because there's like 2 codexes, so who cares? But it sounds like next year they're planning on cranking them out a bit faster. Hey, we got 4 people in the chat. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And let me know what you're working on. If you're working on anything, let me know how bad my giant looks. Let me know what you're asking Santa Claus for. I mean, I know the guy. I'll put in a good word for you. Oh. I think these pots of paint are a little more high risk to spill the lower they get, because you're having to dip your paintbrush all the way down to the bottom and then pull it all the way back out. So that's a lot more time that the paintbrush can wiggle and tip it over. Cool. That is one dark fire giant. But I think he looks pretty good. I'm not mad at that. Let's hit his hammer with this blue tone from Army Painter. Part of this is just, well, the 100% reason I'm doing this blue is because the other Frost Giants have a lot of blue and he has none. So now he has some. So when he's in the army of giants, he'll look like he belongs, hopefully, a little more. But it actually turns out you probably only need 6 little giants and 2 big giants for a 2K. And I already have 6 painted. So these extra 3 I'm working on are pretty low priority. I just am so kind of far along. Like they're already primed and based, and some of them have a few washes on them. It's like, well, if I've already come this far, I might as well finish all 9 of them. So my original thought was going to be in the Stomper tribe, I think it's called. The little giants get a bonus when your big giant, the war stomper is your general. So I thought, okay, 1 war stomper general and 9 little guys. But it really seems to turn out that the little guys are such glass cannons that for any kind of real staying power, and it's still not even great staying power, but for the army, you probably want 2 big guys to be just have some staying power. And if I ever play, I guess, like a 2,500 point battle, I'll have extra. I'm going to make this part blue. Honestly, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be the skin or something, but on him, I did it purple. Can't really tell now, but I think on these other ones, I'm just going to do a blue. It might actually supposed to be skin. It might be supposed to be metal. Like him here. Like you see his chest. Actually, I think he's wearing full armor. Yeah, that's an armor plate. He doesn't even have... This guy has the exposed chest. You can see the nips. But I'm not sure if that was supposed to be skin, like abs coming through, or like the armor or what. I'm going to do it blue. This is purely for matching the other giants if they fight together in the same army. All right, that's my blue wash. Trying to look around a little bit, see if I have any other model real quick I could use up my little last couple drops of blue wash on. I got a few, but nothing I want to commit to being blue right now, I don't think. Well, maybe. No, we'll go ahead and just waste it in the trash. Show you this here while my guy's drying. Here's my 40 Eldar Guardians. Batch painted, and then I airbrushed them, and then I base coated their helmets and their guns, and then I washed them. 2 or 4 weapon platforms, 40 Guardians. I think they look pretty cool. They're kind of a pale tan, cosmic pale tan kind of style. All my Eldar being metallic, so I think they're coming out good. It's just really tedious to pull out 40 models and paint one little thing at a time. All right, let's open up the wet palette here. I'm going to take, how about this color? Golden brown. Put some right there. I'm going to just mix some of this golden brown color on my wet palette and just try to pick out. Oh, it kind of got gray. Interesting. Pick out some of this beard and hair. The wash is still probably wet enough, but it's fine. It just kind of blends with these new colors. See if we can't take a little bit of this pink kind of tone and hit this bottom lip. Cool. It's going to be, yeah, let's try it. So it's going to be maybe a little too, we'll try to really thin it. You see how watery it is? I'm just going to try and hit his knuckles with this. And his nose. You know, sometimes when people are in really cold weather, the bony parts get really pink. Because all the blood's flowing there to try and keep it warm. It's pretty subtle because it's thin, but it should be noticeable enough that it's worth doing, I guess. And actually, it's probably not a bad idea to hit the elbow here. Yeah, we'll hit that one too. Maybe the fingertips a little bit. That's cool. He's got like a big vein here. Maybe we'll just hit that a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly which color I want to highlight his skin with. Let's play around with a little bit of this kind of blue-gray. And some of this color maybe. See if we can get some kind of purple-gray. Do we like that? Oh, I don't hate it. It's really thin, so we're just going to basically glaze it over. And I'm not even being overly careful on covering. Well, 100% don't care about full coverage or nothing. Just trying to add some interest. Huge trap muscles. All right, yeah, this isn't so bad. That's how I like the wet palette, is you can just mix some colors and play with them. I treat my wet palette a lot like an oil painting palette. A lot of people you see, they treat it much more like maybe a watercolorist palette, like these thin little watery paints. I like to treat it more like an oil paint palette because that's kind of what I used to do a little bit, was oil paint. So I want more of the kind of creamier texture, I guess. That's what I like about the wet palette, is I keep my paints more in that almost, I guess the only way to describe it, yeah, is like you're painting with like a creamier paint. I'm not painting with thin watery glazes like a watercolor painting. I'm painting with thin creamy paints, like I'm like, I don't know, sour cream or something, but not thick. Runny yogurt, something like that. That's generally a good place to be. Think about your paints as maybe like the heaviest kind of cream texture is a good way to know it's probably thin enough. All the way to like whole milk. Mine's thicker than whole milk, but you could do that as well. And then some people prefer that kind of whole milk texture. But some people also, I mean, they blend away. They try to blend away like all their brush marks. I don't care about that at all. So I don't try to blend away all my brush marks. That might be a little too bright on his head. I'm going to mix my paintbrush in, get it kind of damp, see if we can't. So now I really wet it. I'm going to rinse off my brush and dry it, and then see if we can't manipulate it back out, basically erasing it. There we go. Can I see his ear? No, not really. Around his face, I'm playing with more pink. His forehead, you can go more blue. Or yellow. Maybe we'll change his vein here to like a bluer tone in this one. Cool. Maybe we'll hit the nips. A little bit of the bluer tone, not because they should be blue, but why not? And let's go back. So this is what I look like when I'm just painting and having fun, I guess. See if let's hit the eyebrows. Actually, we'll just hit the one. This is going more with that pure golden brown color. I'm going to put a little bit on this big kind of mustache. And a little bit in the chin here. And once you've painted quite a few models, and if you're like me and you use the AK Ultra Matte, you get such a cool finish when they're all done. A lot of this kind of theatrics doesn't matter. Like, it's going to look good. It's just weird how it works, but the AK Ultra Matte makes it look so good, I think. So I missed this part here. Like, this part should be red. But I noticed that earlier. I didn't care because I just figured I could highlight it red when the time came. I'm mostly just tapping, like tap, 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 tap. And I'm just letting the brush kind of find areas that are highlight. It gives it a little bit of a random highlight look. It's way faster because I don't have to stress over getting every little striation. There'd be no reason why every striation would be equally highlighted anyway, but just a little bit to make it pop. So, and I see a little bead or something holding part of it. Let's go in with some blue and just change the color of that. Yeah. And heck, while we got it, let's get this kind of blue-gray going. Even though this was base-coated purple, the other two I base-coated blue. So I'm just going to put a little blue highlight on it, and now it's blue. Then I'm going to do the tap highlight on the handle here. This is a cylinder, so the highlight goes along. So I'm going to pick a direction like this, and I'm just going to tap it along. There we go. And although it doesn't make sense, I'm going to do it again on the back here, just in case somebody looks at it from that side. They'll see another little highlight there. And I think it actually could be a little bigger. So we'll do the other direction this time. Widen it a little bit. Tap, 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 tap. So now it's got this kind of blue highlight line. Just picks it out a little bit. And I wouldn't mind maybe a little more fleshy color in the legs here, especially to clean up some of this area I overspilled my paint. In the back of the leg, we'll just hit it with some broad. Well, this guy's got to be cold. He's got a metal chainmail hanging right over his bare butt cheeks. I imagine that is freezing cold. Let's put some of this pinker highlight just on some of these major muscle groups. Big trap. Big triceps. Maybe a little on his head. Anytime you add kind of this kind of a pink, I guess, into it, kind of gives you the illusion that maybe there's blood pumping through. And yeah, that I'm not mad at that at all. That Nuln oil over top of the And I got this T'Challa lilac. I'm going to just put a big blob right there. That's too much. Too much on my brush. No, it doesn't matter on the palette. Let's see. I guess we'll mix it with some of this blue. And it actually looks like it picked up a little bit of green. That's fine. Maybe a little bit of that red too. Make kind of a neutral gray color. And we'll put a few little taps into some of this purple wash stuff. It was like purple wash, but it didn't show up a lot. And then it was Agrax gloss washed. And now it's blue, gray, highlighted. It's fine. All that matters is that there's something highlighting it. I could have used probably any color and it'd probably be fine. He does have little teeth. Let's see if we can even attempt some sad little teeth with this kind of dark blue gray. Oh, now he looks like he has blue teeth. Well, that's one way to add some blue. Just give him blue teeth. Let's see if we can pick up some of this maybe more neutral. Oh, you can't actually see that. Over here on the palette, I got some grays and yellows. So what the heck? I'm going to wet my brush and see if I can't just thin all that out a little bit. Yeah, it's not too bad. I think I'll hit it with a... It really needs like a little bit of bone. I'll hit that with like a black wash when it's dry, and hopefully it'll pick out any little details. All right, let's pink up those nips. As they say in the business, little bit of pink on the nips. I don't want to draw all the focus to his rock hard diamond nips, but just enough. All right, let's get some generic silver. I'm going to close the wet palette since we're going back to the metallics for now. I hear a little puppy going crazy outside. Let him dry for 1 second while I get a drink of water. All right, right now I wouldn't mind going with just like one of these random GW silvers I got. Here we go. This one is called Iron Breaker. These are one of those paints I won't buy again. There's nothing wrong with it. I just like some of the scale 75 or these metal colors way better. So here's an opportunity to use some of it up. Oh, look at it spilling all over the side. See that? And let's see what kind of busted up brush we got. All right, so here we go. We got, I think this is a Citadel. Oh, yeah. Citadel large dry brush. Look how destroyed that is. Oh, you know what? Let's actually go to the cardboard here because I'm going to be doing like a stippling. This is where you just take whatever just destroyed, beat up brush you got. I'm not dry brushing. I'm just I'm trying to take advantage of how beat up the brush is. I mean, it is a mess. Look at that. It's terrible. But I'm trying to take advantage of that and using that to hopefully pick up seemingly just random highlights. And hopefully that gives it like a hammered steel kind of look. If I was going to dry brush these parts, I would have done it before I highlighted the skin. That way, if I over dry brushed and got the pink or I mean the silver onto the skin, I would then use the highlight as the opportunity to clean that area up. But instead, I'm just kind of trying to randomly scrub in some lighter silver. And by accidentally knocking over my paint pot in the process. Let's go this way. But you can tell, I mean, there's no right or wrong. It's just having fun, putting some paint down. This is the most kind of fun, relaxing painting for me. One model, literally don't care. There's no right or wrong answer. I mean, I care. I'm trying to make him look good enough, but to me, there's no right or wrong answer to the color choices. He is a part of an army, but that army is an army of giants, so it's pretty loose. They're not wearing like uniforms like a Space Marine. And you just get to have a good time. Oh, I forgot. I definitely need to highlight the eye patch. This model's pretty cool. He has like a silver eye patch. Cool. Now I use the decayed metal for all the bronze, so that is somewhat of a uniform. So that all three of them will have that same metal, and then the same wash on that metal. And now they'll all have the same highlight to that metal, which I think might be this molten bronze. That's probably good. So we'll just go ahead with that same busted brush. And I'm just going to kind of tap in some highlights where they might be a little interesting. Every single surface of the bronze doesn't have to be highlighted. It doesn't all have to be equally highlighted. In fact, in some spaces like here, maybe I'll just put it like there's a light source highlighting it there, and maybe that light source is hitting right here as well, or another light source. But then, so it's like light, dark, dark. Then there's maybe a little more light back here. Do the same with the shoe. We'll highlight the back. We'll highlight the front. Fast, loose, quick. The only wrong answer is unpainted. I think somebody got a puppy. If you're in the chat and you can hear the puppy, let me know. It's not my puppy, but I hear it going crazy outside. And I want to go play with it. But I'm almost positive you're not allowed to go randomly play with other people's puppies. 2 days before Christmas. You gotta wait a week until they're tired of it. So like I didn't go all the way around his belt. I just put the highlight right there. That's fine. It could be dark in the other spots. Try to get these little trinkets. Cool, he's done. Dunzo. Except for that wash on the mouth. Or not the mouth, the teeth. To try and... Actually, what I'll do, you're probably not going to be able to see it, but I'm going to hit it with this panel line. Tamiya panel line. Hopefully that's dry. If you can see it, congratulations. I don't know if you can see it, but let's hit the panel line around the eye there. I didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. It just went down his face. Oh well, still cool. This one's really nice for panel lining. It's a really good product. All right, he's done. Other things you could do if you want to take them to another level, you could go in like on these creases of the boots and really make that darker where the wash didn't quite darken it enough with like maybe a brown ink or something, really create some separation. Could definitely create more separation back here where like the metal's hanging over his skin. You could make that darker. You can make it darker where the skin is folding into the, not even folding in, but going into the gloves. But yeah, all right. I mean, that is not too bad right there. I think it came out pretty cool. And I'll show you one of the other guys so you can see somewhat of the basing scheme. I've been playing with, oh my God, every time I touch it, I just feel it crunch and fall off. But the frost effect paint. What up, Andrew? Oh yeah, we could do some rust. I'll do it. It's a good idea. So I've been playing with the frost effect from Green Stuff World. It's pretty cool. You got to do a couple coats. And on my base scheme, I don't think it's maybe the right, maybe because it's kind of gray blue, it doesn't show up as good on just one coat. But and then I went in with some of the GW Blizzard paint and put a little bit of snow on there too to ice it up. So we got tufts and stuff. Let's see, rust. All right, let's go with dark rust from Vallejo Model Wash. I think that's not a bad idea, actually. The rust, I think, is going to look really nice because he is kind of gray and orange, more or less. He's like grays, blues, purples, and orange reds with the kind of bronze and reds. So adding another orange is not going to be a bad idea. And I'll put it in a few spots, I think, actually. So let's put it around these areas. Add a little bit of orange. You know, I'm going to thin that down. That's coming out a little too. I'll thin it out with my go-to flow improver. Everybody give a thumbs up for Andrew and the rust idea. I think that's a good idea. Trying to use his good idea to get my thumbs up going. Oh, I did get a little bit of silver on his arm there. I will clean that up. I was saying I don't care too much about these, but I can't let that much silver be sitting on his skin tone. You know, I'm just going to put a little bit in there. I'm going to hit around this emblem. Hit around where these two metal things are screwed together. Hit the inside of the emblem there. Maybe under the hammer where it's welded to the thing. Oh, and on the back. Yeah, a little bit. Right there. Cool. I think that was a nice touch. Good thinking. I got a little extra rust there. If anybody needs it, hit me up. I got extra. Oh, now here is the ultimate advantage of the wet palette. I finished the skin. I put the paint away. And just like that, I have it back. This is the skin tones I was working with, mixing colors around this area. They're still there. I can still grab them. And I'm going to darken it a little bit because generally when I'm correcting something, I go a little darker. That way, if I have to, I can highlight again. And we'll use that paint that I just used to correct on a little more area so it's just not like one splodge, as Peachy would say, of a color. So now that color is kind of moves throughout the model. Hey, Damon's in the building. What's going on? Is that Damon, my commission painter man? I guess he already probably left the chat, but cool guy. Let me see. Have you tried AK crusted rust enamels? That's my go-to. I have this, but I've never tried it. Oh, this is MIG or MIG. I've never tried it. This oil brusher. I don't really have any AK anything except for the ultimate product, best thing ever, the AK Interactive Ultra Matte Varnish. And if you haven't watched any of my streams before, this little thing here is AK Interactive Ultra Matte and distilled water. A mixture. I just put some Ultra Matte in there and some distilled water, and that's what I use to go back and forth from to thin my wet palette paints. So I'm always trying to matte them down a little bit, kind of see how they work. But yeah, this oil brusher here I've never tried. But that's, I got the Vallejo Dark Rust. And then I like that color so much, I went and bought the other one and accidentally bought the same one. So I have two Vallejo Dark Rust. I think it's a really nice rust color. Didn't mean to buy two of the same ones because there is actually three different. I have Ryza Rust from GW. This one's interesting here too. It's another Vallejo one. This rust texture. It's a little more warm orange-ish color than Typhus Corrosion. If you're looking for like rust texture, that one's pretty nice. Sounds like it's still usable. If you watch my other video, all my engine paints got destroyed. And then also with rust, you can just use, you know, orange and brown washes, some of the contrast paints. So yeah, there he is. What I'll do now is just probably let him dry for a while and hit him with the Ultra Matte. Oh, and I'll put the tufts on his base. Then I Ultra Matte him. Oh, he fell. Let's make sure we didn't just knock off any paint there. I'll Ultra Matte him. And then I'll do the snow effects after. Maybe we put him like that so he's cool to look at. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm quite done painting yet, But I think I'll probably turn this stream off and then maybe set up for another one. That way, just for the future of anybody viewing these, they can click around and they don't have to click forward an hour and a half to see what the other model is I'm working on. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Please like and thumbs up. Subscribe. All the good stuff. I think we did a pretty cool giant pretty quick. And I'll probably take a little break. It's only 9 o'clock, so I think I'll probably take a little break and set up for another one. Either another giant or, I don't know, maybe we'll do something else. I am really trying to finish my giants here, though, so it would be nice to get them off the work in progress table. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. As always, all the support. Merry Christmas.